This is a funny little plane in more ways than one. I saw it offered cheap on the internet last year, and I thought it looked sort of vaguely interesting, so I thought, well, I went ahead and bought it. Kind of an oddball plane. It says FPV. Don't think they even sell a version of it with any FPV equipment, though. They just think it can vaguely be flown FPV. I'm assuming they're thinking you've got to put the camera pointing down through that hole there, though it would be a bit tight, but you suppose you might be able to. Didn't come with any FPV equipment anyway. I've had various problems with it. Well, for a start, the box got squashed in shipping. This damage to the canopy there wasn't a crash, that was from shipping, and in fact the whole body was kind of bent because it was in a cardboard box, and the whole cardboard box got squashed in shipping, so it didn't start off too well. Then the first time I flew it this year, the propeller flew right off because the nut came loose inside the whatnot there. Anyway, let's try and start the onboard camera recording if we can. Yep, that seems to be recording. So we'll give it a go. Again, I don't know. It's, I don't know, never been a particularly great performer. It's a bit of an oddball thing, but, you know. There's also strange things it says on it. Air shaking flying. Some truth in that, it does tend to shake a bit. Firm, brave Sky Pilot, high performance, it says. And for some reason it says ING. Is that an advertisement for the bank on the front of it? It came like that anyway. Okay. So I think they call it the Tian Sheng TS839 Sky Pilot. And it's a bit obscure. I hope we're not going to get... we may have problems with getting water on that camera, I can see.
Throttle.
Whoa. Okay. Yes, well, it is a pusher, so...
High rate.
Holding the tail down. Holding the tail down while you manage to get it to run and take off is a bit tricky. Because in the grass, it wants to push the nose down over. You know, the wheels are holding the nose back, so if you throttle up, it has a natural tendency to be trying to hope we didn't soak the blithering. And I was also focusing there a bit on worrying about soaking the camera. Well, if we did, we did. I can't help it. Yeah, you get water on the lens of the camera, of course. It doesn't help. And it's a bit tail heavy because it's not a very heavy plane, and I've got that camera which weighs half an ounce or so. Nice and clear this morning, I'll say that, the air.
Time remaining. 7 minutes.
Yeah, it definitely is a little bit tail heavy. Whoa. It's definitely a little bit tail heavy, which makes it hard to control. We all know tail heavy planes are a bit of a pain in the butt to control. It just wants to keep going up. I'm actually slightly surprised that camera makes that much difference, but maybe I shouldn't be. I mean, this is a smallish plane and it's not that well balanced in the first place. So it's probably not particularly surprising that the camera... I haven't put the camera on the tail before, and it was probably not a great idea with this plane. He's a bit small. I've certainly flown him with cameras on before, but I always kind of put them on top of the wing, which is obviously a safer place to put them because they're pretty much on the center of gravity then. Yeah, he's definitely tail heavy. He's definitely tail heavy. The tail is not the place to be putting a camera on this plane. Oh, well, you have to remember all these things. And it may well have picked up water from the takeoff anyway. Yeah, you really are having to keep a lot of down elevator on him all the time to make him fly halfway sensibly. And I'm pretty sure the prop's balanced, but we still seem to get some vibration with this plane. I don't know, maybe the motor itself is a bit out of balance or something.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
The prop, now that I think about it, is not. I don't think that's the prop that came with the plane, although I don't remember why I changed the prop, whether I broke the prop or what, I don't think that's the prop that came with the plane. Well, I know one came off, but I didn't lose it. I found it. I'm pretty sure the one that came off. It landed on the runway and I found it, so. I don't remember the whole history of messing around with props on this plane. Well, it's a bit dubious, as they say, because it is tail heavy, so it's a bit of a pain in the butt to fly. Will it glide? Yeah, it sort of glides. I wouldn't push it too much because I don't want to stall it, but yeah, I mean, it can sort of glide. Actually, yeah, well, it should be able to, because I remember when the propeller flew off in flight, I was able to glide it into a landing fairly effectively, so yeah, the propeller came right off in flight, and I was able to...
Time remaining 4 minutes.
I was able to land it pretty okay, so that was a good sign in itself, I suppose, so that it can be controlled and whatever when it's fairly dead stick. Wasn't tail heavy then, of course, but very nice and clear today, and almost no wind. Hopefully we're going to get a couple of days of good weather. There's a bird checking us out. The delayed float fly is supposed to be this 2 days from now, this Saturday, and the weather at the moment looks good for it, clear with little wind, so let's hope so. I got to sort out what I'm going to take to that. Okay, well, let's think about bringing this guy in, because he's tail heavy anyway, and
3 minutes.
he's not flying particularly well. Not that he ever does all that much anyway. He's not a particularly thrilling plane, but he flies a bit better than he's flying now when he's not tail heavy. Need to, because he's, you've really got to keep his nose up. I nearly made him fall over then.
Throttle cut on.
Although I landed him pretty slowly, but I didn't have his nose up when I landed him, and he nearly went over. But he didn't. Well, yeah, in fact, the being tail heavy may have helped us there. Okay, well, I hope that the camera didn't get too soaked there. The problem is with the grass being wet, and it tends to throw water up from the wheel, so... well, I was going to run the motor again, but I don't know if there's much point. I mean...
Throttle cut off.
Yes, there's definitely some vibration there, and I've balanced the propeller, so I don't know where it is. It's the motor itself, as I say, is maybe just not very well balanced. It's not absolutely awful, but it does not feel nice and smooth. Okay. Oh well, we'll try and stop that guy. Yes, it's still recording. It does look rather wet, though. Okay, well, we live in hopes, but anyway. 6.5 minute flight. 2200 milliamp hour, 3 cells, still over 12, so can't complain that he's using too much power. You could certainly fly him for, oh, heck knows, I don't know, 12, 15 minutes probably. If you wanted to, which might be good for FPV. I don't know whether I'd really, although they bill him as an FPV platform, I don't know whether I'd really want to build to fly this guy FPV. It certainly wouldn't be my next choice. I think I'm going to go with the XKA 1200 as the next thing I'm thinking of flying FPV.